Hey there, welcome to LC Yoga. My name is Laura, and today we're doing yoga for the shoulders. We sit a lot, rounding causes a lot of tension in the shoulders, and today we're going to open that up. So if you're ready, get on your mat and I'll meet you there. We'll begin today in seated, so find something to sit up on. We're just saying that sitting rounds the shoulders a lot, well, we're going to just do the opposite of that while in seated. So grab a cushion, a pillow, anything, a sweatshirt, blanket, doesn't matter. Just find something to sit up on and get comfortable. It's just so we can lift the hips up, and that helps the spine to stay long while we're in seated. One of the reasons we have that shoulder pain and that rounding is because when we're seated on a flat surface, the pelvis tilts backwards like this. So that just pulls you down and causes the slouch that we all do while we're working on our computers or looking at our phone. So we're going to reverse that by sitting up on a cushion. Now, when you sit up on a cushion, you'll notice that you just sort of automatically have better posture, and that's because the pelvis is allowed to tilt a little forward because the legs are lower than the hips. So this is a great way to start, and just close the eyes. We're just going to arrive here in the yoga practice, going to leave everything behind. So close the eyes, hands can be on the knees, maybe the palms are up. Sit tall, let the crown of the head reach away from the sit bones. The spine is super long. And let the shoulders drop away from the ears. Let the arms get heavy. Just start to breathe deep. And let each breath make its way up into the upper chest so that there's almost a slight back bend. Like there's a helium balloon attached to your upper chest, and it just is letting it float up just slightly. So the shoulders roll back. Breathing deep. Now, if you're dealing with a shoulder injury, be very gentle with yourself as we move through the practice today. Modify as you need so that we're not causing pain, we're just causing stretches to open and reverse pain. You can open the eyes and keep that tall posture. It's kind of regal as your head's just sort of balanced on top, right? So let the arms float up about chest height. And then bring the shoulders back toward the back, just opening the upper pec muscle. And just let it go as far as it can, as far as they can. Do you feel a little stretch right there? And just hang out there. And then let the hands come down. And we'll do that again. So let the hands float up and then draw the elbows towards each other behind you. Remember to breathe deep. So as you breathe, let that open up. And then drop it down. We want to hold it for a stretch. We're going to do it again, but not long enough to cause more tension. So stretch, a couple of breaths. You start to feel tension forming and drop it down. Last time like this, let the hands float up. Hands are soft. Pulling the elbows back gently. Deep breaths. And drop it down. Now this time, sweep the arms up overhead all the way, and then open the arms into cactus arms as they come down. And keep them moving. So you're going to try to release the trap muscles of your upper shoulders. Up again, cactus arms floating down. Do that with breath. So inhaling forward and up. Little back bend, and then exhaling. Palms, fingers spread wide. Come on down. Again, up and down. Now we're going to add a little side bending because sometimes what's happening in the shoulders is coming from the waist. So we're going to give those shoulders a rest. So just sort of shake them out. Let your left hand go down to the ground beside you, and then sweep your right arm overhead. We don't want to add tension to the shoulder, so bring your hand to the back of your head. So that way you can kind of release that muscle and draw the shoulder away from the ear, and then bend toward the left, looking up toward the sky. So you're turning your torso up, lengthening the side waist. Deep breaths. Press your armpit away from your left hand on the ground. You're kind of lifting up and away. Breathe into that. Get into the lat muscle as well as the side waist. And then come on back to center. And then we're going to take that right arm across into the crook of your left elbow and just stretch the outside of the shoulder. Deep breaths. With each breath, you can feel it open a little more. And then release that, and then draw the right arm behind you so that it's peeking, your hand is peeking out over here on the left side. And you can hold that hand or the elbow, maybe bringing, your left arm behind, but if that doesn't work, just sort of hold that hand. And you're just keeping that shoulder down while you let your head kind of just tilt toward the left. Getting into the scaling muscles in the side of the neck. And you can turn your head up or down, just searching for the right stretch. And you find a good spot, just hang out there. Breathe into that. Tell the muscle to relax. When we stretch a muscle, it'll sometimes try to contract back because it's not trusting us yet. It's like, you're going to rip us. Don't do that. But you're not. So tell that muscle it's okay. You can release. Let it fall away. The shoulder falls away from the ear. If you find a spot that opens up, maybe turn the head until you find another one. And then turn your chin toward your shoulder, your left shoulder, and then roll your chin down toward the chest and come up. And we'll shake out that right arm. And we'll take that to the other side. So this time, right arm down, left arm up and over as we side bend. Bringing the hand to the back of the neck or the head, drop your left shoulder down. And then press your armpit away from your bottom hand, side bending while you turn toward the ceiling, toward the sky. Deep breaths in through the nose and let it out through an open mouth. Just helps release. Come down as far as you need to, maybe walking the hand out a little more. more big breath here. And then come on up. It's good stuff, right? Now draw the left arm across into the crook of your left elbow and stretching the outside of the left shoulder. Deep breaths. If you don't feel much, you may need to actually physically press your left shoulder forward so that that muscle kind of takes the cue that it's involved in this one. Deep breaths. And then release that. Maybe shake it out a little. And then wrap your arm around behind so that your left hand is peeking out by your waist. Grab a hold of that hand, maybe interlacing fingers, or grab the elbow. And we'll release the neck on this side. So let your ear fall toward your right shoulder. And again, turning the head down or up. Looking for a good spot to stretch. And when you find one, just hang out there for a few deep breaths. And again, tell that shoulder muscle, it's okay. We're good. Nothing to worry about. Just let it all hang out. Breathe and open. Turning the head to find a new spot when that one opens up. And then turning the chin toward the shoulder, let the chin drop toward the chest, and then come on up. And release that. And just kind of swing the arms back and forth. Forward and back. And release. Keep going. Breathe and open. Roll the shoulders back. Let the arms come up as you do that. So just roll them back. Again, we're opening the front. Because that is more the problem. We feel the pain in the back of the shoulder when we have shoulder tension. But the problem is in the front. Is this muscle is contracted so the back muscle is overstretching. And then it creates knots to try to keep itself together. It's your body trying to protect itself. And so we open the front, and that's really where you find pain relief. All right, you can get rid of the cushion. You have one. And we're going to do a few hip stretches with a shoulder stretch thrown in, just to get the lower body involved a little bit. So before we do, I'm going to sit back with the knees wide, and we'll take a child's pose. Reaching the arms out in front of you, forehead comes down, resting on a pillow if this doesn't work for you. And if the knees are bothering you, feel free to put something between your hips and your heels. Deep breaths here in child's pose. Just sink down and reach the fingertips forward. So you're kind of getting a stretch under your shoulders right now. So pull until you feel that. And lift the head. I'm going to walk the hands over toward the left and side bend. So press into your right armpit. You should feel an awesome stretch under your shoulder, your lat muscle and side waist. Maybe even in your tricep area. Let it expand with every deep breath. And then walk on over to the left or to the right side and lean into the left armpit. It's one of my favorite stretches. So you can just press into the ground and pull toward the left, and you'll feel that awesome opening. Deep breaths into that. And we're not muscularly warmed up, but there's another way to release muscles, and that is breathing deep into them. Imagining them expanding, and that'll open them up just like heat will. Just have to give them a little time. And then come on back to center. And this time, tent the fingertips, and we'll take child's pose again, letting the chest come down toward the ground and stretch into the shoulders. And then come on up to hands and knees and step your right foot forward into a lunge. We'll get the hips in on this a little bit. So scoot your left knee back so you can drop the hips down. And your right foot is in the outside of your right hand. You're in a lizard pose. Now, if this doesn't work well for your knees, you can come up higher. Right? But what we want to do here is open into the hips. And at the same time, we're adding this nice little tilting to the pelvis, right, on one side at a time. And it's reversing that we talked about at the beginning of class. So here you can just rock around, maybe flex the foot and come onto the outside edge of the foot. Rock back and forth and just open the front of your hip flexor on the left-hand side. When we have healthy hips, we sit better. So what you want for great posture is a strong back, stretched out hips, and that means the front of the hip as well as the back, because the back actually gets overstretched. So we really need to, again, get into the front, and that is going to help a lot with any lower back pain you may be having. Again, it kind of pulls the pelvis and rounds it backwards, so you want to pull it forwards. Now we'll add the shoulder stretch. So from here, bend into your back knee. If this doesn't work for you, feel free to skip it. We're just going to grab that ankle with the right hand. Dropping the hips, just press the chest forward. Lift the chin as high as you want to, and then pull your arm back with your left foot. Just kick that foot back. Spread your toes and relax your jaw. Breathe into that. Breathe it open. This covers a lot of real estate. And then release, and we'll just come on back into that child's pose. Sink the hips back. You're going to have some strong sensations in the hips. So from here, you may want to hang out just here or maybe come forward and drop the hips a couple of times into a upward dog and back to a child's pose, just releasing that. Deep breaths as you go. And now we'll step the left foot forward into a lunge and just take that to the other side. So it's on the outside of your left hand, and let the hips drop down. You can come up onto a block here if you'd like, or the elbows can be on the front thigh, whatever works. And then maybe wing that knee out to the side, rocking onto the edge of your foot, and then rock back and forth. Just opening the hip flexor on the right this time. Feel free to stay still. Everything I say is optional. Feel free to find what you need. And when you're ready, kick that back foot up and grab a hold of the ankle. And then press your chest forward. And as you do that, your chin rises up. Kick your back foot back and open that left shoulder. You're getting into the hip at the same time. So feel free to wing that knee out to the side. If this is too much for the shoulders because you're dealing with an injury, skip it. Feel free to rest in child's pose. And release. And then we're going to take one downward dog. Again, if your shoulders are bugging you, don't bother. Lift the hips up. And stretching into the backs of the legs, press the hands into the ground and kick the hips up as high as they'll go. Knees can be bent, heels can be off the ground. And we'll take Anahatasana here to add the shoulder stretch. So maybe take the feet back a little so the heels are up, and then press your chest down. So you're making a ski jump out of your torso. Super stretch for the shoulders. If that's too much, maybe try that with your knees on the ground. Pressing the chest toward the floor. Puppy pose. And wherever you are, lower your knees to the ground. Walk your knees through so you can come into seated and then roll down onto your back. Bring your arms into cactus arms. So you're just letting them open up. Knees can be up toward the sky. You can walk your feet out the width of the mat, knock the knees together, and just hang out there. Or bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees out to the side. Get a little more hip stretching and inner thigh in Supta Baddha Konasana. And again, we're just letting the shoulders open. You may or may not feel much here, so you're gonna move around. So raising the arms a little bit up overhead or down lower till you feel a nice stretch. And you know we're sitting too much when just lying on the ground is a stretch, right? We need this. So if this isn't much at all, that's awesome, that's good. You may want to roll up a towel or a blanket and place it underneath you, or a bolster if you have one. You place it underneath your torso so that your shoulders can kind of fall out to the sides and over. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if we have, grab a bolster. This is one of my favorite things to do. So if it's a rolled up blanket or a towel or whatever you have, a cushion, just make it something that your shoulders are going to drape over. So it should be relatively narrow, right? Because you want your shoulders to fall over to the side. You can get a nice back bend in at the same time. So you place your hips next to it and then just come on down onto it. Make sure your head is supported so there's no tension there. You can do whatever you want with your legs. Same options apply. And then let your arms fall out to the side. And just breathe into that. Close the eyes. If you're on the ground or you're on your prop, just let the shoulders open. And adjust. If you are on a prop, adjust it so that it's really comfortable. You don't want any tension in the lower back, right? No crunching. So this can be a very small cushion or a big one, just depending on how open you are today. What we're trying to do is open the front body. It's not about bending the back, it's about opening the front. So your legs can be out straight, Shavasana legs. whatever you'd like. And this is going to be most of our Shavasana today, so just find a comfortable spot. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes, just letting the shoulders open one more time. Now, if at any point you feel any tingling in your fingers, move your arms down so that you're not pinching into any nerve. All right, so you may need to adjust the position. Maybe it doesn't tingle at first, but it starts after a little while. Move your shoulders so you don't prolong that. Now, if you're on the ground, go ahead and stay there. If you're on a bolster or a blanket, maybe place your feet on the floor and then place your fingertips behind your head and just lift your head up so you're not straining into the neck while you place the elbows on the ground and press the hands and come on up. Sometimes that can be a little bit of an intense back bend. So we're going to just lay down flat on the back and let the feet do what they want. So again, Baddha Konasana, or maybe let your knees knock together while your feet go out the width of the mat. And just release the lower back from that little back bend we were just doing. Arms again can be overhead or cactus arms. You can also draw the knees in toward the chest gently. Maybe wrap your arms around the knees and just give it a gentle squeeze, keeping the hips on the ground. Let the whole back sink into the floor. Now, wherever you are, when you're ready, make your way on up to sit. And then find a comfortable seat. Half lotus or a simple cross-legged. Maybe sit up on something to help keep the spine long. Backs of the hands to the knees and close the eyes. And hopefully your shoulders are feeling amazing right now. I know mine are. I sit all day long for work, so they give me a lot of trouble. So enjoy that. This is a great practice to do on a regular basis to counteract all that sitting we do. So just take a second here at the end of class to close it out with a little gratitude. So thank yourself for taking time to get on the mat. Thank your body for letting you do so. And thank your breath for leading the way. Namaste. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed today's class, come find me over on lcyoga.com. There you'll find all kinds of content that doesn't exist here on YouTube. With a 30-day free trial, you'll find commercial-free complete beginner series, intermediate flows, workshops, at-home retreats, challenges, lots of stuff to help you grow and expand your practice. So start your 30-day free trial at lcyoga.com, and I'll see you there.